Hello again and welcome back to Sosnovka Sovkhoz episode 18 with me, Mr. Sealy P. So we've got a couple of fields on the go at the same time. We are carrying on from the last episode. If you haven't watched it, go and have a look. We are seeding field 25 with canola next to field 23, which already has canola in. We have sent the fertiliser spreader over to field 18, which is over by the biogas plant. So while the seeder is banging away on field 25, I'm going to bring the maize seeder, corn seeder, whichever you'd rather call it, up to field 18. The fertiliser's already made a start. I'm now going to get the seeder going on this one as well. So we'll have the fertiliser going and the seeder at the same time while the seeding continues over on field 25. So carrying on from yesterday's episode, or the last episode, so the last episode, we are multitasking. We are doing a couple of things, 3 things at once, possibly more should the need arise, but there we go. Fertiliser spreaders carrying on with its job while we carry on with ours. Now this is a slightly odd shaped field, quite a large one, so what I'm doing is kind of chopping off the triangles, if that makes any sense, to give myself a large rectangle, and then what I will do with the 2 bits I've kind of dissected, which I'm doing now, I'm then going to give myself 2 smaller rectangles, which means I can leave the workers to work away quite happily in those rectangles, which is what the fertiliser is doing now. I've already taken off this top section and the other section. So what it should be doing now is the fertiliser will just be going up and down the big rectangle. So what I'm doing now is taking off this top section as well. I'll have a bit of a fiddle around clearing up the sections that are left manually myself, and then I will set a worker to go on what's left. But anyway, the maize is going into this one. This is the section over here directly ahead of me, quite a big open field section. It runs the full length of the field back up towards the biogas plant. I may get a large plough and I may extend this field so that when it comes to doing an all crop silage harvest with maize, it'll be a big field. I'll speed this up just a little bit because it's going to take a while. Anyway, I'm hoping, like I said before, that what I will do is when this one is ready, especially if I do extend it, as you can see, chopping off this section as well to give myself a rectangle, I will get some help. So what we can do is have the forage harvester chugging along quite happily on the field, then 2 of us carting to and from the silage bays at the biogas plant. That'll be the plan. Again, whether my assistant will be available or not, who knows. But that's one of the rectangles ready. This is the second one. I'm now just separated off this triangle at the top here, and I fill this triangle in, which will then give me 2 small rectangles, 1 large rectangle, which I can set the workers on while I go back over and check on field 25. See how that's getting on, and then work out what we're going to do next. Now, I normally do this on ×2 when I speed up and do time lapse. I'm trying this on ×4. I don't know, because while I'm rendering it seems incredibly jerky, not particularly smooth. I'm not sure whether it's going to come out particularly smooth on the final kind of edit. If it doesn't, let me know, leave a comment, and I'll try and stick to ×2 for time lapse. Right, so still on field 18, but the fertiliser is finishing off its last tiny little strip on the edge, and that's fertilising done. So that will be field 25 done, field 18 done as far as fertilising is concerned. The seeding, however, will continue. The seed tool's working out a nice little tractor. I'm quite impressed with it. One of those kind of hauling things. It'll chug around doing lots of little odd jobs. fertiliser, it pulls this no problem at all. Quite a handy little tractor for doing it. As I've mentioned before in previous episodes, if a little bit noisy, but it is still a good little tractor. Do like it. Just trying to decide what job it's going to do next, which may well be whizzing back across the farm, back to field 28, which we purchased in the previous episode. And well, I'm going to put potatoes in that one, but it will need fertilising. So while I've got 2 fields now seeding, I might well whiz this over to field 28, get some fertiliser in that, ready for potatoes to go into it. It's all go, don't stop. So that's where we're going to head now. Round the back way, over the rickety bridge. Haven't yet had the nerve to take a combine over this. Not sure it'll be wide enough. It might be just about. I'm pretty sure Giants won't have it set to collapse. Right, let's get those beacons on, so I'm going to go out to the main road. There is a car coming, but I should get out just ahead of it. Hopefully. And here we are at field 28. Let's get straight on with it. Right, get a strip across front. Right, so the seed is done. The T9 with the large horse seeder is done, I think. Yeah, field 25. So 23's got canola in, which is on its final stage of growth. 25 we just put canola in, which is on its very start of its growth process. There goes our fertiliser across field 28. But that's this one done for this episode. Won't need the T9, I don't think, again in this episode. So we'll get this one back to the yard. We'll probably park it up on the left hand side of the main road. There's just a bit more room to move around over that side. And with the longer vehicles, especially when we've got the double trailers and this one as well, I kind of come in from the back of the barn, because they're open barns, is easy enough to do. So yeah, come in from the back, drive through, drop it off. Excellent. Right. Park up the T9, another good job done. It has worked out to be a very good purchase. Bit expensive, but it does the job. Fertiliser is carrying on quite happily in field 28. Back over to 18, and our seeder is merrily chugging along there as well. So, all's going well. We are getting everything into the ground. It's the last couple of episodes. I know it's nothing particularly exciting, but it's stuff that needs to be done. Multiple things happen at the same time. So, while that's happening, the fertiliser's finished in 28. Seed is carrying on in 18. What I need to do now is, this is going to seem a bit peculiar, I suddenly thought of it, sell the plough. Only because of that big strip over next to field 18, I think I probably am going to plough that out. Which means if I do it in the next couple of episodes, I'm probably going to damage some of the crop I put in. Regardless, whichever. Because I've now got the T9, I've got something with enough horsepower to pull a bigger plough. So I'm going to sell this one anyway. At the shop. And that did that all the way along the road. I don't know if it's the speed, it's just hitting bumps in the road. It just kept bouncing up and down all over the place. Right, so get this off the back, detach it and sell it. But because we are doing maize crop and I'm thinking of doing some more ploughing, but I need, because it's going to be a bigger area, I need a bigger plough. So I'm thinking I'm going to get a plough and a cultivator, which the T9 will be able to pull bigger ones of both. So I'm going to go with the Vogelnut, which is the larger one, and the cultivator I'm going to go with the Lemken Gigant, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, big one. So there we go. 2 new bits of equipment for the farm. They are both rather large. That's a big plough. And that cultivator stands quite tall as well. I have to be careful pulling that, because I think if you try and corner too fast, that's going to topple over. It's quite a narrow wheelbase and stands quite high, so I have to be careful with that, I think. This tractor won't be able to operate them. It hasn't got enough horsepower, but it's got enough horsepower to pull them. So it'll be able to take them back to the farm. We can park them up, ready for when we need them. Another one of those kind of things. I thought, well, I've got the money sitting there. I'm going to need them. Might as well buy them. And then they're there ready to be used as soon as we need them. I'm going to put these this side as well. Again, because it's quite long, the plough. I've got a bit more room this side to manoeuvre it about. Still managing to make an absolute mess of it. So if this was a closed off barn at the back, I wouldn't be able to go straight out the back of the barn, take the back wall out and readjust. Be a bit more fiddly, but anyway, that will do. It sticks out the back a bit, but it is a long plough. Right, back up and we'll grab the cultivator. Right, I'm probably going to stick that the same side. Actually, I can stick that right next to the plough. There's enough room next to it. Both quite narrow implements, so they'll fit in. That was a bit easier. Didn't make that look so bad. So, 2 new bits of machinery. Hooray! Very quickly while I'm here, the tractor is an absolute disgrace. It's a problem because it's white. So give it a quick hose down. Get some of this muck and grime off of it. Not that it will stay clean, it does get a lot of use. So I normally go with the Deutz-Fahr. I do like the Deutz-Fahr TTV, I think it is. 7250 TTV. I like that one. It's got more horsepower. 263, I think it is. It's only got 220. But in the interest of using something a bit different to other maps, that's why I went with this one. But I'm sorely tempted to buy the Deutz-Fahr as well. But this is doing the job. I probably don't need to, in all honesty. It would just be because I want to, not because I need to. So, next purchase. Potatoes. If I'm going to put potatoes in the ground, I'm going to need a seeder to do it. And I might as well use the bigger one. It's going to take ages, otherwise it's a big field. So, this tractor's getting a lot of work back and forth to the shop today. Back off to the shop. Let's go and grab this seeder. Now, this seeder is incredibly wide. And I've managed to drive it on the road, get away with it. Narrower roads, maybe traffic coming the other way, it would have proved a lot harder. Not quite sure how you would transport it. Because even if you tried to get up onto a loader, it would still stick out really wide. And I don't know how you put it onto a loader sideways. I don't really know. Anyway, it's going to take a little bit to fill this up. Only downside with potatoes, it's expensive to put them into the ground, especially if you're doing a largish field. But that said, you get a lot out of it. Huge yield on potatoes. So for what it costs you to put them into the ground, you'll more than make that back. Especially if you store them, wait for a great demand. But it just seems like a huge expense initially to do it. Something I'm not sure actually. That I've often wondered if you've already done a potato harvest, because for all intents and purposes you're putting potatoes into the ground. Ones that have started to shoot, the sort of small ones, you're putting potatoes into the ground to seed to make potatoes. If you've already done a potato harvest before and you've got some in storage, whether you can fill up the seeder with potatoes you've got in storage to sow to make more potatoes. I don't know, that's worth a try. I'll have to think about that. I don't know whether you can or not. But anyway, I'm not going to use the Lamborghini for doing the seeding. I'm going to bring back our Zetor, make sure this time that I fill up the fertiliser spreader so I don't get caught out like I did last time, which is my own fault. Hands up to that. I did say on previous episode, whenever I put it away I'll make sure it's filled up, but I didn't. So I almost ran out a little while ago. If you're new to this series, if you're new to my channel, first time you've ever seen one of these, go and check out my other ones. I do a gameplay series on Bjornholm, down on the farm, and I do one on Westbridge Hills, Welcome. Go on, have a look. Different styles of gameplay on both, sort of more specific to each map, trying out different options and different ways, especially for people, you know, if they're new to the maps, if they're new to the game, different ways of getting your farm up and running. One, I started off and the farm was already kind of relatively established and how I was getting on with it. Westbridge Hills was starting from scratch, but focusing a little bit of logging to get me going, and then more on silage. This one I've gone more for logging to get me going. I haven't done any silaging yet at all, and kind of how I've built up from there. But yeah, go on, have a look, see what you think. Give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. I am intending, when we move on to Farming Simulator 17, to carry on doing gameplay series, possibly some more on 15, carry on with one of these, or maybe all three, but also starting new on Farming Simulator 17. So by all means, come on, have a look, subscribe, follow my exploits. I'm liking this Zetor. It's got a good turning circle. I often find when you do potato seeding, when it turns the seed around, you get those little narrow triangles where it doesn't turn quite well properly, and you get little gaps all the way along. This one doesn't seem to do that. Quite happy with that. Not bad. Just for the record, and again it was one of those annoying things which it missed for some reason. I lost the recording, or I didn't stop recording in time and I missed a little bit of it. Field 18 is complete. It is fertilised. The seeder is complete. It is done. I didn't catch the final bit of that, and I do apologise for that. I don't know quite what I did. I did go through all of my save clips, and I thought I'd done it, thought I'd recorded it, and thought I'd saved it, but I can't find it anywhere. So I don't know what I did there. Bit of an error on my part. So again, getting that rectangle. I know again it's probably not the done thing. You wouldn't have so many strips across one way, then run your strips the other way. If you're cultivating in between putting the crops in and when they're harvested, or running pesticides, herbicides, whatever you're going to do on them, having your crops laid in two different directions in the same field would be a bit odd, I suppose, but just works out a little bit easier on this. So we've moved on a little bit. 25's done, 18's done. We've got canola, oilseed rape, I keep saying canola, oilseed rape field in and ready to go. It's on growing phase. And we've got field 18 with a maize crop in, or corn crop, depending on where you're from, or what you want to call it. That's happily going. And now I'm sticking potatoes into field 28. I haven't done potatoes yet on one of my gameplay series. I did do sugar beet on down on the farm on Bjornholm. So this is a little bit different. The problem I have got now is that once I've got them in the ground, I don't have a harvester. So I'm going to have to do something to get the money together to buy a harvester, and they're not cheap. That much I do know. 400,000 plus, I think, especially with a header as well. So yeah, not a cheap thing to do, but I'm sure we'll manage. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Next episode I'm going to carry on getting these potatoes in the ground, and depending on how long that takes, maybe something else as well. But we are gradually moving forward. We are buying more equipment, we are buying more fields, we are gradually building up this farm. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you liked it, give us a like. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Leave us a comment if you want to leave a comment, good, bad or indifferent, it's entirely up to you. But as always, whatever you decide to do, thank you for watching.